Hi, I'm Teresa Simpson with Visiting Angels, your in-home non-medical care provider. And today what I'd like to talk about is how to choose someone to come into your home, what methods there are of finding somebody, and what you need to know before you have someone come into your home. There are two options. Basically, you can have an independent person come into your home and do care for your family members. This, of course, finding someone, you can find them on Craigslist, you can find them in the newspaper. However, as I go through how to find somebody for an agency or why you would choose an agency, you'd see that's really rather dangerous. There's a lot of work of finding someone who's qualified to care for a loved one and who has the right morals and ethical people that you would want in your home, the ethics that you'd want in your home. First of all, you got to think about if you're going to have an independent person, you need a background check. And doing that independently on your own is a little difficult, especially doing an extensive one. When you go to an agency, that's one of the things that you want to make sure. They're not just asking for a fingerprint card. I've done background checks, and I have found 2 people with felons who had fingerprint cards. So it's not just an okay thing that for some reason everybody thinks if you have a fingerprint card, you're clear, but it's not necessarily true. Make sure that those background checks are done regularly by the agency if you're going to choose an agency. The caregiver, are they an employee of the agency or are they subcontract? If they are an employee of the agency, make sure, of course, that they've got the workman's comp, the liability, and all the rest of the insurance that you would want in having somebody in your home so that you're protected. If they are independent, then you have to ask, who's paying the workman's comp? Are you responsible for that? Who's paying the liability? Do they have that on that? Make sure you see that they've got the proper insurance and they've got proof of it. Somebody falling in your home and hurting themselves, a back injury, lifting somebody, that type of thing, can absolutely ruin you financially if you don't have the proper insurance. Who's paying the taxes? If it's a subcontract, you are responsible for the employer taxes on that person, unless the agency is paying for it. And I don't know why they would be paying, they'd have subcontractors if they don't want to pay that insurance. So make sure that that employer insurance or taxes is paid for, or you're going to be responsible for it. That's very important. Experience versus training. We get a lot of people who want to become caregivers, and they say they've got a caregiver certificate. To me, that's not enough experience to have someone, remember they're by themselves in your mother's, your father's, your husband's, or with them. There's no one supervising them. And to have just training, some of them, I know companies who do video training. You know, this is how you lift someone, this is how you transfer someone. And they send those people out. Well, I don't want them practicing on my mom. So I would think about that in your, when you're out looking for a caregiver. You know, who do I want caring for my mom? Experience we require, and you know, everybody's different. We require, all agencies are different, but we require a year, minimum 1 year experience working within an assisted living home. Now what that gives you is that they've had the experience of transferring 1 million people. Not 1 million, but that's an exaggeration, but a lot of people. And they also have had the experience of working with the elderly for a long enough time to know if they really enjoy the work. Just because you've gone through school, done a caregiver 6-week course, and you've had a week at an assisted living home of experience, doesn't mean that you can spend day after day in a home with somebody, caring for them, and they still love the work. What I look for in my caregivers is the experience is extremely important. But all the experience, all the certificates in the world don't make up for the heart to do the business. These people have got to want to be with the elderly. It's a very difficult job, even if they're sweet. And a lot of them aren't. But even if they're really sweet, it's difficult to day in, day out be there to assist someone, and it is a servant's heart that you're looking for. So you want to keep that in mind. How do the agencies choose the people that they're there? Are they, if they're the lowest paying people, what are they paying? How much do they pay? If they're on the lower end, is that somebody who's just trying to get themselves through school, paying their way through college, or are they really there because this is the profession that they want to do? I mentioned background checks already in regards to agencies. Ask them about the background checks. Ours is the highest standard within the industry. It's a 7-year nationwide background check. And so it's very extensive, and we're looking for abuse, and we do their driver's license, you know, their driving record. Everything that you can check, we check. So it's very important that you make sure that they have that. Also checking references from another agency. If they give references, are those references checked? The consistency within the agency, this is real important. Now, if you just hire an individual off the street, obviously that's going to be the same person who's going to come to your home whenever you need them. But when you hire an agency, sometimes they will just send who's ever on the schedule. I don't know about you, but I would hate to have somebody show up at the door that you've never met before, and you're having trouble getting in and out of the shower, and that person's going, okay, I'm going to help you take a bath today. Well, I don't even know you, and you know, it's difficult enough to be elderly, let alone to have somebody just, you know, you have to do this kind of thing. So is that caregiver going to be the same caregiver there that they're going to be able to get a rapport with, that your loved one is going to know and love and trust? Thank you. And so that's real important. Is that caregiver consistent? Is that going to be the same one? And what is the background or the backup for that caregiver in case she can't come? Do they have the team type of mentality at the office where, okay, we're going to introduce another person to make sure that somebody is there that your loved one knows? We actually go out and introduce every single time. If there has to be a change in the caregiver, we go out and introduce a new caregiver so that they know me and I'm bringing someone that they're going to meet, and they're going to meet through somebody they know. Also, check to see if you have to sign a contract, excuse me, or you know, if you're responsible if the person passes away or goes into the hospital. Are you responsible for any length of time after that, or is it an agreement? That would be very important. So those are just some of the tips in looking for someone to care for your family member that you might want to consider or that you should be considering. We do, light housekeeping, everything from companionship to the medical, no medical, but the meal preparation, the activities of daily living. We do from companionship to end of life. We work with hospice, where a lot of times the family is there, but they don't necessarily want to do the turning every 2 hours or that type of thing if a person is in the process of dying. And so we do all of that. The bathing, we can stand by, or we can actually, they will bathe. We can do light housekeeping, run errands, take them to the doctor's appointment. Just go, and you want to go to lunch. Depression among the elderly is rampant. It's epidemic because they are so isolated. And of course your loved one's going to say she's fine, because that's what we do when we're depressed. We just say, I'm fine, I'm fine. But depression is huge. You know, and just having somebody come and take them to lunch or sit and chat with them for a little while is just, what it brings to their life is huge. We do an hourly, it's by the hour, and it's anywhere from, well, we do a minimum. That's another question to ask. What is their minimum? How many, you know, hours a week or a day will you do? We have a 2-hour minimum, which is one of the lowest in the industry. Usually it's like a 4-hour minimum, but we do a 2-hour, though I do charge more money for it because it keeps I pay my caregivers more for it. I don't keep the money, I pay my caregivers more. It keeps them coming because the cost of driving there, then 2 hours, and this isn't an industry where they're making a lot of money. And so, you know, it keeps them going and gives them an incentive to take a 2-hour minimum. But that's $50 for 2 hours, no matter how long they're there, it's $50. And then it's anywhere from $20 to $18 an hour. The more hours during the week you have scheduled, it goes down a little bit. So hospice will call us, and we work with hospice patients.
So we could request?
You can, yes, if they come, and they still come. We just are there if you would like, you know, to have somebody come and help out with those kind of situations. We're there. And, you know, we work with people on hospice who are not bedridden, who are not dying tomorrow. You know, I mean, it's a white, and thank you so much.